If you and I were standing in Germany in the late 1880s, watching Carl Benz fiddling with a three-wheeled contraption that looked like a bicycle that had swallowed a sewing machine, I promise you, neither of us would have bet a single coin that this thing would change the world. Seriously, picture it. Wooden wheels, a frame that looked like it came from a barn, an engine that sounded like someone arguing with a wasp, and Carl Benz had the unmistakable face of a man who'd spent too many nights awake thinking about gears, explosions, and the fact that everything he owned was basically in the hands of his investors. But here's the thing. Every major revolution starts with someone who looks just a little crazy. Carl Benz wasn't trying to build a car. That word didn't even exist yet. He wasn't dreaming of freeways, gas stations, or speeding tickets. He just wanted to take a tiny internal combustion engine, basically a metal box that goes boom, 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 and attach it to something with wheels. Not because it was practical, not because the world wanted it, but because he believed deep in his bones that humans shouldn't have to depend on horses for transportation forever. Especially horses that stopped in the middle of the road whenever they felt like it. The Benz Patent-Motorwagen was the first of its kind, a rebel machine, a mechanical dare. But before we get there, let me take you back to the start. Carl Benz grew up poor. Not can't afford Netflix poor, more like his mom had to fight to keep him in school poor. His father died when he was 2. Life didn't hand him a wrench, he had to forge it. But even as a kid, he was fascinated by motion, locks, levers, steam machines. The kind of child who took things apart not because he was destructive, but because he needed to understand why things moved. Fast forward a few decades, and Carl is a grown man with the same energy. Except now, his curiosity is mixed with stress, debt, and the pressure of running an engineering workshop. He built engines, tried new designs, failed, tried again. Investors walked out, business partners left. One man literally told him, "Stop working on this nonsense." But Carl wouldn't quit, because truly groundbreaking ideas never start pretty. They start messy, dangerous, and absolutely terrifying. And then, finally, in 1885, Carl built something small, just one cylinder, one piston, and a handful of moving parts that changed everything. It wasn't impressive on the outside, but it had one thing that steam engines didn't: efficiency. It sipped fuel. It didn't weigh 1,000 pounds. It didn't need a boiler. It was simple, elegant, and absolutely perfect for a new kind of machine. So he mounted it on a 3-wheeled chassis he built from scratch. No roof, no windshield, no brakes worth bragging about, and steering that behaved like a shopping cart with anger issues. But when he started it, when that engine coughed to life for the first time, Carl Benz knew this wasn't just an invention. It was a revolution on wheels. The world just didn't know it yet. So here we are. The year is 1886. Carl files a patent. The world's first automobile becomes official, and everything is about to get beautifully chaotic. But we're not even at the craziest part yet. Because the first real test drive of this machine, the one that proved it worked, Carl Benz didn't drive it. His wife did. And she didn't exactly ask for permission. But that's a story for the next part. If Carl Benz was the brain behind the first automobile, Bertha Benz was the fire. And trust me, this story gets good. See, Carl was a genius, but he was also a perfectionist. The kind of guy who'd adjust one screw for 3 hours and then stare at the machine wondering if he should adjust it again. He was terrified the world would laugh at his invention. He thought the Motorwagen wasn't ready, that it needed more tests and more polishing. Bertha did not care. This woman had funded Carl's dreams from the beginning. She believed in the Motorwagen even when investors didn't. She wasn't just a supportive wife. She was a silent co-founder, the first driver, the first mechanic, and honestly, the first automotive marketing genius. Most importantly, she knew one simple truth. If they didn't show the world what this machine could do, someone else would beat them to it. So one summer morning in 1888, without telling Carl, she woke up their two teenage sons. And she said, basically, "Boys, get up, we're taking the car." Remember, this wasn't a normal car. This was the first car. The car Carl kept locked in the workshop like a fragile newborn made of exploding metal parts. And Bertha just took it. No permission, no safety instructions, no driver's manual because it didn't exist. Just pure, unfiltered confidence. Her mission? To visit her mother in Fort Time, more than 60 miles away. Let me repeat that. She took the first car in human history on a 60-mile road trip before roads were ready, before gas stations existed. This wasn't a drive. This was an expedition. And right from the moment she rolled out of the workshop, people lost their minds. Imagine you're living in 1888. You're used to horses, carts, and the occasional loud chicken. Then suddenly, a wooden three-wheeled machine rattles past you, spitting out smoke, shaking like it's trying to escape its own bolts, and making sounds like puff, 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 prap. People stared. Some screamed. One guy thought it was witchcraft. 2 horses reportedly ran away. Bertha drove calmly through all of it. But don't get the wrong idea. This wasn't a smooth ride. Problem number 1. No gas stations. Cars didn't exist, so fuel stations didn't either. The motor wagon ran on Ligrone, a cleaning solvent you could only buy at pharmacies. So Bertha casually made history again by becoming the first person to do this. She walked into a pharmacy and purchased fuel for a car. Boom! World's first gas station, a pharmacy in Wieslak. Problem number 2, the car broke down. Of course it did. The engine line clogged, the chain loosened, the brake linings wore off. But Bertha, she fixed everything on the side of the road. With what? Her hairpin, her garter, her intelligence. She literally invented roadside car repair before cars were even a thing. And when the brakes started failing, she stopped by a shoemaker and had leather strips attached to the wooden brake blocks, the world's first brake pads. This woman was unstoppable. By the time she reached her mother's house, she had turned Carl's secret invention into a public sensation. Newspapers wrote about it. Crowds gathered to see it. Suddenly, people realized this machine might actually be the future. Carl had spent years dreaming, worrying, overthinking. Bertha took one road trip and turned the dream into a movement. And when she returned home, Carl wasn't angry. He was shocked, proud, and finally convinced that the world was ready for his invention. But our story doesn't end with a single road trip, because the motor wagon had a destiny far bigger than anyone imagined. The world and the entire automotive industry were about to be transformed.